Supposing you had the chance to get rid of some of your worst nightmares, what would they be? My guest is here tonight to persuade me to banish the items on his list into room 101. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome Stephen Fry? Hello, Stephen.
Thank you. Come on.
Thank you. Very pleased to see you. Good, welcome to the show. Stephen, I've met you several times. You've always been very polite, very easygoing, very even-tempered. Does it take much to get your dander up?
Well, it's a pretty lazy dander, to be honest. There are some unpleasant things in the world about which one should get angry, aren't there? Obviously, you know, cruelty and poverty and disease and all the things. So how is it that you can spend really what must be 100% of all one's fury on the fact that you've mislaid your car keys or a sock?
All right, let's start you off then on this is your first choice for room 101.
Tom Pauling, how do you think it stands up in its revival?
It was a bit like going back into late 1950s television.
Nonsense. It's the most simple-minded biological determinism.
Which was propaganda for a particularly vicious kind of narrow messianic Americanism.
It was a great parody of romanticism in it. I like the monkey.
Well, that was Tom Pauling on the Late Review, but it's not just him, though.
Oh, no, dear fellow. I'm sure he's a jolly nice chap and all the rest of it.
I quite like him, I have to say. I like him because his name is very similar to Tarpaulin. Which always amuses me when I see his name come up.
He's rather a good poet as it goes, actually.
Yes.
He's a very good poet. I'm sure he's a fine man. I quite like his cussedness. But it's the whole thing of these late-night review programmes. And there's a film chap as well who does it. As well, also, for some bizarre reason, from Northern Ireland. Believe me, I have nothing against Northern Irish at all. Who would dare? Do you know the one I think he's called Mark Cousins, who talks about films in this very delicate way, as if they're made of crystal and everything is... and he kind of uses listenness on the end of words all the time. He's got a kind of restlessness and hopelessness, and I once heard him talking for 40 seconds about a film without using the word film. It is this vision, this quest, this essay into... It's not a vision or an essay or a quest, it's a film, darling.
Yes. One of the classic pieces of film criticism, there was a film called If by Lindsay Anderson, about late 60s, I think. Yeah. And there's a bit in the film where it goes from Technicolor to black and white. Yeah. And many critics wrote about this extraordinary visionary artist who's dared to take us from Technicolor to monochrome because he's showing us the savagery of the system. And actually, they'd run out of colour film. And they didn't have any money.
Absolutely
so
right.
they had to use black and white.
It's so true. And I just, you know... At BBC Two late at night, you want something pleasant. You don't want three people around a table just and their hands all the time. It seems to me every sentence begins with it seems to me that it works on about 5 levels. And you always want to think, oh really? I counted 7. 12 levels. I think there were 12, possibly 15 levels. You know, it's just endless. I mean, even Germaine Greer, whom I do admire in many ways, she's just, you know, she's got to the stage now with slightly fierce, almost pince-nez, and almost deliberately slightly dégagé grey hair to make it, you know, slightly more femme savante, blue stocking sort of look. And she's terribly fierce.
You've lost me there about 5 sentences ago. But if I nod intelligently, I'll look good.
You do this, you swine. You play the I'm pig ignorant, I've only got a metalwork HCND or whatever it's called, and then you turn around and tell me how to pronounce Furtwängler. So, I know you.
Well, then this is how newspaper critics get their TV break, isn't it, appearing on these sort of shows?
Well, that's right. Most of them are pretty vitriolic and unpleasant TV critics, some of them as well. And there's a woman called Alison Pearson who I'm afraid, she does make me vomit, I'm sorry to say that. Again...
What is it about her that makes you vomit?
I think it's just... There's this kind of tiredness about everything, as if she's a sort of headmistress, and if only these people had brought me the script before they made the film, I could have pointed out how it could have been a great film. They didn't come and see me. So now they've made it, and I've got to tell them where they went wrong and all their mistakes. You see?
Do you read your own crits? I mean, you know...
Not anymore, no. I just can't bear it. I mean, I have to admit, I get very upset when people say nasty things about me, but I don't actually get that delighted if they say something nice about me, really, because I don't really believe that either. And it's not the act of criticism. I think it's more a theological point, really. I just have this feeling that these people are going to go when they're dead, and St. Peter's going to say, what did you do with your life? Well, I looked at things other people did, and I said, that doesn't really work. It works on 2 levels, but not satisfactorily on either. And to me, it wasn't as good as the thing you did before. I'm sorry, that's what... I gave you 2 legs and 2 arms and a soul, and you did that for all your life. You told people what was wrong with the stuff they were doing. You know, I think it's just a terrible waste of a life.
OK, we must have the art of criticism.
I think they must write it down on a piece of paper.
Yes.
And they can publish it somewhere if they want in the Times Literary Supplement or in a film magazine. It's absolutely right and fine. But please don't clutter up our valuable terrestrial channel space, such as it is.
All right. Well, I don't know, Stephen. Am I going to put this into Room 101? Perhaps I should put this to an audience vote. I don't know how, because, I mean, because we're in a profession where we are judged professionally, it could be accused
It seems to me it's a very attractive audience. It's an audience that works. It works on about 200 levels, I think, yeah.
OK. On the basis of that flattery, let's see. Hands up if you think critics should go into Room 101. Oh. Well, I think you'll all be very pleased to see this happen then. Goodbye to the critics. OK, let's have a look at your next choice. This is a thing... Do you know what this is?
I think it's a dream catcher.
A dream catcher. So, Stephen, New Age.
Anything, I mean, they call it a New Age. I mean,
What do you think of New Age music?
Oh, what? Don't.
So we get rid of the New Age
please
music.
get rid of that.
It's
Yeah,
gone.
that's horrible, horrible things.
Let's explain exactly what this is then. This is a dream catcher, as you mentioned it. For those of us who don't know, this apparently is something that stays above your bed at night. Bad dreams are caught in this web, and that's basically what it does. It gets rid of your bad dreams. That's my understanding.
Yes, I mean, ethnically, one would not wish to diss the particular North American tribes who use it, and that was part of their culture and so on. It's the awful, inappropriate ransacking of various ethnic artifacts from different cultures that you just... We'll grab a Red Indian dream catcher and we'll take something else from India and we'll take something else from somewhere else.
So those
the key word for me, I mean, my spleen isn't really big enough to explode with all the splenetic juices of fury that drive me when I consider this, but the real key word that triggers my rage is the word energy. When people start talking about it in terms of negative or positive types, it's a very negative energy here.
Yes.
What are you talking about? What do you mean? You know, I mean, let's think about... What does energy mean? Well, we know what it means. You know, energy from petrol, when it's burnt, it moves a car and makes it moves like this. And this room has positive energy. Well, where the f***'s it going, then? I mean, you know, it's not moving. You know, it's covering up such woolly thinking, such pathetic nonsense. I mean, the whole astrology, I mean, there's a... Good. And most people will say of astrology, most of this, oh, it's harmless fun, isn't it? And I should say, probably for 80% of the cases, it probably is harmless fun. But there's a strong way in which it isn't harmless one. One, because it's so anti-science. You know, you will hear things like saying, science doesn't know everything. Well, of course science doesn't know everything. But because science doesn't know everything, it doesn't mean science knows nothing. Science knows enough for us to be watched by a few million people now on television, for these lights to be working, you know, for quite extraordinary miracles to have taken place in terms of the harnessing of the physical world and our dim approaches towards understanding it. And as Wittgenstein quite rightly said, when we understand every single secret of the universe, there will still be left the eternal mystery of the human heart.
So you're not denying a sort of spiritual level
we are
at all?
an entirely spiritual people, of course we are. I mean, the things that most exercises, I would say, for most of our lives are spiritual matters. That's to say, matters towards our sense of self, whether love and hate and anger and fear and desperation and all those things which are spiritual. But the answers to them are to use our whole body. If you know, a lot of these alternative medicine people call themselves holistic, but and say because it's the whole approach. Well, if it's the whole approach, then let it be the mind as well. Use logic, use sense. You know, use the incredible 5 wits you were given by creation.
Do you ever have sort of like little psychic incidents happen to you? The sort of thing where you may, let's see, I mean, the sort of thing that people say is you suddenly think of somebody you haven't seen for 15 years and the phone rings and it's them.
Yes, of course, absolutely. But if that never happened, that would be weird. Why has that never happened? I think about, probably without knowing it, I may think about 200 people every day. And if, over the course of a lifetime, it never happened that one of the people I'd thought about rang, that would be, God, that never happens. When I think about people, they never ring.
And the internet, of course, is a breeding ground for this sort of New Age stuff. There is a website run by someone called Alex Chu, We've got a picture of him here. Teleportation. This is a teleportation machine. Teleportation must be invented, especially now everyone can live forever. So,
Yeah.
we've taken this design and we've made one.
Oh, my heavens.
Yes, we have. Here we are. Now, I'm a bit nervous of this because we haven't really tested it out yet, so we're not really quite sure what will happen. But
Good luck. God, I wish I were going with you.
yeah. Here we go.
What?
I'm as surprised as you are. Right, so, well, you have this thing now, which is apparently an ancient tradition, the Feng Shui, or Feng Shui as it's called. Yeah. There was a couple in Leeds towards the end of last year who they were looking to buy a house in that area, saw the house they wanted. Before they put an offer in, they consulted their Feng Shui expert, who was charging them £200 a go, and he said, no, don't buy the house because the door opens onto the street. And there was a main street, and he said this was bad energy, so they didn't buy the house. But of course, I mean, the point is, of course, if they do buy a house, then they stop employing him.
Well, exactly.
So there is an inbuilt...
That's a very good point.
There's an inbuilt reason for him to say...
We've been using him for 17 years now. We've still not found a house. He, on the other hand, has an enormous house.
Yeah. A lot of this stems from California, doesn't it?
Well, it does. I mean, and that's of course, that's the thing. There's the cultural and spiritual and religious rape of the East, which may well have its own system, which is, has its own right to exist. And I'm in no way denigrating anybody's right to, to worship and whatever they like or believe whatever they like. I mean, But as G.K. Chesterton says, the trouble is, and it's so true. He was writing about atheism. When it's not when people stop believing in God, they believe in nothing. It's they'll believe anything. And in a strange way, I'm not a religious man myself, but when there's a time when you believe in a God, you didn't believe this horse shit.
But before we put it in, we've got a bit of footage here. This might convince you. This is a man who is so in touch with the spirit of nature, he's actually possessed by dolphins. So let's have a look. See if this convinces you, Stephen. I mean, obviously in distress, because a dolphin wouldn't normally be that close to the fireplace.
No. Not unless being savagely rammed by someone who's dropped sand in the Vaseline, I think. But,
I wish that was code.
Yeah.
I think it's got to go in then. All right, in it goes to room 101. OK, Stephen, your last choice for room 101 is...
Well, I'm sorry to say, don't please take this personally, it's room 101. Yes, I know, he's a lovely chap and everything. It's not the programme itself, it's a jolly nice programme, and I've enjoyed many of this series and the series before, but it's, why are there so many programmes that are about things that are crap? And there are newspaper articles called J'accuse and Spleen and Bile,
yes.
And I hate this, and, everything is about what's shitty. There should be something. Why isn't there a programme called Room Fluffy? Everything nice goes into it. It's so much nice to come and talk about some things that were absolutely super and horribly lovely.
Well, you say Room Fluffy. I don't know if that's a title that I could live with, but I'm willing... I'm willing to go with Room Lovely.
Room Lovely.
Room Lovely.
You made it pretty fluffy, though, haven't you, as well?
It's pretty fluffy. I think that's... how does that look? Does that look OK?
Oh, you see?
All right, so, all right, let's see what the Room Lovely credit sequence...
Well, I'm sold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to Room Lovely. Who would you like to talk about first?
Oh, who would I like on Room Lovely? Well, there are lots of people. Kathy Burke.
Kathy Burke.
Yeah.
Now, what is it about Kathy Burke that you would like to cherish and treasure?
She's just great. She's everything. She's just got everything that is great about being great. She's funny. She's incredibly clever. She writes brilliant plays as well as being a wonderful actress and being extremely amusing. She's very charming. I think she's, you know, like we all know people who, when we go to a party, if they're there, we kind of light up. Think, oh, great, they're there. And I see, you know,
They've got the fags on them.
Yeah. And she's on television or she's in the film or she suddenly appears. I think, oh, great.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I mean, she's gutsy and she's clever. I think she's a, you know, if I was a woman, she would be a definite role model for me, if you like. You know, that it's possible to be a woman without having to kind of go all mincy and weird on you. You know, you can be, nothing wrong with people who are mincy and weird because I'm pretty mincy and weird myself.
So what else would you put into Room Lovely?
I think it would have to be libraries.
Libraries?
Yeah, libraries. Fantastic. See, I mean, you see, it's so nice to be able to talk about something that's unreservedly great after talking about things like, you know, dream catchers.
What's so great about
New Age.
libraries?
What's great about them is that anybody can go into them and find a book and borrow it free of charge and read it. But they don't have to steal it from a bookshop. It seems such an obvious and simple thing now. But libraries are full, everything is there. You know, when you're young, you're growing up, they're almost sexually exciting places because books are powerhouses of knowledge and therefore they're kind of slightly dark and dangerous. You see titles of books that make you go, ooh.
Are there a few hardbacks you remember with fondness?
I do indeed. Well, I have some experiences in libraries which we won't go into, but they perhaps remain erotically charged to me for all kinds of reasons.
So what else? What else would you...
Ooh, well, Macintosh computers. Ah, look at that. Whoa. Apple has recently had an incredible release of life. People were saying, oh, Apple's will be no good, everyone's got to use a PC. And Windows. Sorry, we're back in room 101 there, sorry.
This is Room Lovely.
This is Room Lovely, yes. No room for the horrors of Microsoft here. This is a beautiful object, and it's designed by an incredible young British designer, whose name is Jonathan Ives. And he is just a genius. The influence of the iMac has been amazing. You now buy almost everything you buy is transparent.
Yes.
It's been ripped off horribly. The original Bondi Blue iMac. The extraordinary thing, it's turned around the fortunes of the company. They have these amazing widescreen displays, flat widescreens, which he also designed. He's only about, his testicles have barely descended, it seems to me.
Are they transparent?
Yeah, certainly. He's about 13 years old, I think. He's very young. But Jonathan Ive, he's incredible. Absolutely
OK, what
brilliant.
about these two here? This is Jamie and Sonia.
You've got me, Jamie and Sonia. They're the best, aren't they? If you like EastEnders, these two, apart from anything else, I think they're cracking good actors, and I mean that, I really do. He is just...
I don't know EastEnders, but what... Sorry. He's just gorgeous.
No, he is, but she is too, I think.
I can't work out whether he's got his hands up her shirt or not.
Well,
Are you an ardent soap fan?
EastEnders, as you can tell, I do watch a bit. But The Archers is the one I'm most passionate about, which is obviously a radio soap.
Oh, well, Radio 4 then, was that...
Radio 4 would certainly be on Room Lovely list. And Radio 4 seems to be one of the truly great achievements of the British culture of the 20th century.
Well, I mean, we've talked about Room Lovely. I've got to decide whether Room 101 goes into Room 101. Before I do that, ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Fry.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now, this is a delicate problem because if I put Room 101 into Room 101, I'm not quite sure what will happen.
But if you don't, I've got to take it with me.
Yes, so it becomes your Room 101. So it's either sort of give it to you or commit professional suicide. It's going in. I wish I hadn't done that.